Do you have a dream car? Mine is the Lucid Air. Are you intrigued by electric vehicles? The Lucid Air EV has been called the best driving car in the world. And the Lucid Air Sapphire is certifiably the fastest production car in the world. Listen to Lucid Driver Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts or at luciddriver.buzzsprout.com.
Welcome to the Joy of Cruising podcast with your host, award-winning author Paul C. Thornton, a weekly conversation with the amazing cruisers featured in the Joy of Cruising books, comprised of The Joy of Cruising, Cruising Interrupted, new release, The Joy of Cruising Again, as well as other fun, informative global cruise personalities. It's the next best thing to cruising, hearing about cruising from the unique and diverse perspectives of Paul's amazing guests. If you hear about a cruise that interests you, book it at www.thejoyofacation.com or enter to win a free cruise for two. Again, www.thejoyofacation.com. We really appreciate your feedback, so leave us a text. Paul can't reply, but he may read your text on the air.
Hello, Passionate Cruisers. This is Paul. And this week on the Joy of Cruising podcast, I am delighted to welcome Rubin Ervin as my guest. Rubin Ervin is a short guy with a big voice. He doubles as the announcer and the warm-up guy for the #1 game show in the country, Family Feud. Rubin started his career having the slime of his life as a child actor for Nickelodeon Studios. I see what you did there. And later became a show host for their live shows. As his career progressed, he soon became the life of the party, emceeing and DJing shows for Walt Disney World, Universal Studios, Nickelodeon Recreation, and many more. As the warm-up guy for many shows such as The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Little Big Shots, 500 Questions, Passwords, and Judge Steve Harvey, and many more, Rubin gets the crowd pumped and ready to have a fantastic time, no matter what. You can also hear Rubin's voice as the announcer for many shows in addition to Family Feud, such as Showtime at the Apollo, The Kelly Clarkson Show, and America's Got Talent. I first met Rubin when I hosted him on my other podcast, the Lucid Driver Podcast, Episode 16, as Rubin owns one of the baddest Lucid EVs on the planet. Welcome, Rubin, to the Joy of Cruising podcast.
Hey, man, thanks for having me back.
How you doing?
Hey, man, everything is good. I ain't gonna lie to you, 2026 is kicking my butt a little bit, but we are here, we're alive, and we're kicking. So just looking forward to a good year.
All fun stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm hustling. I'm working my butt off.
So it's good to virtually see you again. You have quite a colorful and interesting past and present background. So before we talk about your background, introduce yourself to the listeners. Where you're from, where you live now, family, anything you are willing to share.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Rubin. I'm a husband. I got two great boys. I'm an entertainer. I am a game show announcer / game show warm-up guy. Warm-up guy means I come out and keep everybody happy in the commercial breaks and keeps the party going. I'm also a DJ, avid 3D printer, and an all-around fun guy. But yeah, that's basically me in a nutshell.
Now, put some... do you want to say, where you're from and where you live?
Okay. I am saying where I'm from is weird. I'm technically from Florida. However, my entire family is military. So I've moved all over the world, but I call Florida home. But now my real home my current home is I live in Southern California. And we've been here about, So we've been here about 9 years now, 8 or 9 years now.
So put some voice to your background that we discussed in the introduction. From child actor all the way up to short guy with the big voice on Family Feud.
Yeah, so I started in my preteen years. I worked for Nickelodeon for many years. If you ever go watch old Nickelodeon episodes or old Nickelodeon commercials. There's a little black kid with a flat top in the background. That was probably me. I moved on and I started working for Universal Studios and Disney. I still work for Nickelodeon, their live sector, pieing and sliming kids forever. From Universal Studios, I met my wife. We got married. I discovered a role called TV warm up. I didn't know what it was. I had to Google it before my first day of work. Family Feud had come to Orlando, and Steve Harvey was the new host at the time, and he was looking for somebody to basically keep the crowds happy while he was on a break or in the commercial break or before the show, just get them all pumped up and ready to go. He liked me. I've been touring the world with him for many, many years. He then settled in Atlanta and I settled in California where I got a lot more work. So outside of the stuff that I do for him, I'm on shows like the Kelly Clarkson Show, America's Got Talent, The Voice. I did shows with Anthony Anderson. I just did a show with Drew Barrymore. I'm not going to go on the whole list. It sounds like I'm bragging, but I'm blessed to say that I get to work a lot. There's about 20 guys, 30 people in the industry that do my job. And I'm happy to say I'm one of the few that get called all the time.
Right.
So yeah, that's my life.
Rubin, let's go way back. Talk about your very first cruise. When, what ship, and what were your impressions?
Okay, so, all right. So I preface this by saying it was a lot of firsts for me because at that point in my life, even though I had traveled with my parents, it was my first time flying as an adult. So I was working for Nickelodeon and I flew to New York for the first time and we got on the Royal Caribbean. I'm going to say the Dream. I think it was the Dream. I'm not 100% sure. And I was working for Nickelodeon as they did a whole Nickelodeon cruise. So Nickelodeon had partnered with Royal Caribbean, and I ended up being the Nickelodeon cruise director. So basically, if you go to a typical cruise, there's always that one MC, that main cruise director guy that goes out and tells you the stuff that's going on and this, that, and the other. Well, Nickelodeon wanted their own for this particular partnership. And I ended up being that guy. And so I'm not going to lie to you. I was a little nervous. I had never been on a cruise ship before. I didn't know what to expect. And I knew that I also wasn't going as a participant. I was going as an employee, as a performer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was really hesitant. I was very nervous about how that was going to be. It ended up being great. Being a great experience. We had a great time. We were on there for a week. And then we came back home. We did it again on another Nickelodeon cruise ship. We came out of California later on that year. Same thing. Cruise director, cruise director. I got to put quotations about that because they weren't paying me. Pine and Sliming kids. And then the partnership ended with Royal Caribbean. And then we went to Norwegian. So we were on the Norwegian ship. We did that a couple times. And that was literally, the things that I'm telling you about were 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, after I had worked it, it's kind of like working at a restaurant. After you've worked one, you don't want to eat that food anymore. So I got to the point where I was like, well, I don't want to really do a cruise ship anymore. And so for, over a decade, I didn't have any wanting to do so. Randomly, my wife had brought it up about it was right after the pandemic had happened, and we were looking for something to do. We'd all been locked in our houses for so long that we were looking for something to do. And, she suggested a cruise for my birthday. We went out on the Princess Cruise. We had a good time. And then the next year we went out, we were like, hey, you want to do it again? So next year we booked I had done Royal Caribbean and I knew how fun that was. So we booked a Royal Caribbean cruise ship and did that. And then most recently, a lot of my friends work for the theme parks. And one of my good friends works for Disney. And we went out on their cruise ship for the first time ever. And that was a blast. So yeah, I think I've caught the cruise bug now. So let's see how this pans out.
So that first cruise you went on, as a representative from Nickelodeon. So,
Yes.
so you, I guess you had been with Nickelodeon for some time before that cruise.
Yeah.
What kind of things were
Yeah.
you doing?
I was a host. I was well, I started off as basically a performing production assistant, and then I became a host. So I hosted their game shows, like their live game shows. I was when the Nickelodeon cruise happened, I was actually a host and for and kind of a manager for the Nickelodeon Hotel that they had in Orlando.
Okay.
And so the whole business model for the Nickelodeon Hotel, was basically a cruise ship on land. I mean, it had the same things. It had a buffet. It had the shows. It had the pools. I mean, and the staterooms and the activities all day long. It was basically the same business model. And so Nickelodeon goes, "Hey, we're doing Nickelodeon cruise on land. We might as well do it on the water." And that's what happened.
Is that Nickelodeon Hotel still in operation?
Not in Orlando. They have one, I believe, in Punta Cana. But there's no more. There's no more Nickelodeon in
Okay.
Orlando.
Okay. So getting on that first cruise, were you concerned about seasickness?
Oh my goodness, man! Are you crazy? I would listen. I was afraid about Aaron. I was afraid about seasickness, pirates, falling off the boat. I was afraid about everything. Uh, I'm sorry, you cut out. What you say?
You said falling off the boat.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was like, I can't swim like that. I didn't. I was afraid of everything. Uh,
Did it take you to, as they say, get your sea legs?
you know what, brother? I had to get them immediately. I had to get them immediately because we got on the ship. We got on the ship super early. We got on the ship early, kind of with the other employees. You know what I'm saying? And then when we got on the ship, we had to get everything set up. So, we were making slime and making pies and getting the show set up. And then literally, as people are coming on the ship and we're doing the sail away, I'm in the sail away show. You know what I mean? So I had no time to think about getting sick. I had no time to think about getting sea legs. I had to start talking and dancing, and it worked out.
How many of you were there? How many Nickelodeon crew?
I want to say people who were performing. I want to say there was 25 of us. Because the cruise ship already has their own entertainment program,
Right.
and we just kind of came in and merged with those entertainment programs and made them more Nickelodeon.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just kind of a blend of those two things.
Mm-hmm. Was it fun?
Oh, a lot of fun. It was one of the best times of my life. I mean, man, I got to. I was famous for a week. You know what I mean? Like everybody knew me. People wanted my autographs. I was dancing and playing around and throwing slime on kids. It was an absolute blast. Absolute blast.
Were the passengers on the ship? So was it a Nickelodeon cruise? So did they come for the Nickelodeon cruise, or was it sort of they came for Royal Caribbean, but this happened to be a ship with Nickelodeon on it?
Okay, so as you know, well, first of all, I'm gonna answer your question and say yes, it was a Nickelodeon cruise.
Okay.
Okay. Period. It was branded that way. It had the signs on the outside. It was on the website. It was a Nickelodeon cruise. But you're an avid cruiser, and you know that a lot of people, they book these cruises well in advance. Okay. So we had a situation where there was a couple who had booked this cruise a year prior, and it was for their honeymoon.
Oh, wow.
And so they had no idea that their honeymoon was on a ship with thousands of children. So so thankfully Royal Caribbean is a great company, and they got together and they did a lot of great stuff for them to kind of say, hey, listen, we should have probably told you ahead of time you might want to switch ships. But they did it up for them, and they did it right.
We'll be right back.
The Joy of Vacation by Dream Vacations invites you to join us on a bucket list adventure to Africa. We're going to Kenya and Egypt for 14 days, April 10th through April 24th, 2027. A week in Kenya, including safaris, and a week in Egypt, including the pyramids and a 4-day Nile River cruise. This adventure includes air from the U.S., all transfers, all accommodations, private tours, and many meals. $5,000 to $5,500, depending on air, per person. Double occupancy. Only $250 per person deposit due at booking. The remainder is not due until late 2026. For a detailed itinerary, online brochure, and to book, email me at pthornton, Thornton, pthornton @dreamvacations.com. So they ended up having a happy sailing.
I mean, they looked like they were happy. I don't know how. I mean, it was a great case for birth control. Maybe they gonna wait a while. So, but it was. They looked like they had a good time.
What was it like having? I love actually theme cruises. Although, I mentioned to you already, I'm going on one this weekend. It's the Soul Train cruise. So I really, really love theme cruises. Although every one I have been on has been music oriented. I would love to go on a stand-up comedy cruise. There's cooking cruises, wine cruises. I did go on an African-American cultural cruise. So that was really nice. So all of my best cruises have been kind of theme oriented. So this was a theme cruise. What were the highlights?
Right.
Any highlights or lowlights?
Okay. So I'll go low light first. And because I would like to end on a positive. We, as a Nickelodeon staff and a bunch of people who had never worked on a cruise ship before, did not really know what we were walking into. We walked into double and triple the amount of work that we thought it was going to be. Because being that it's a themed cruise and that we're on a cruise ship, we're performers, and I'm used to going out, doing my job,
right,
and then going sitting in a break room somewhere and then going back out and doing my job. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all, because once you get on the ship and these kids know your face and these kids know your voice, and the adults too, you know what I mean? Everywhere I went, I had to be on. And
24 hours a day.
I had to be on, you know what I mean? 24 hours a day, I had to be on. And no one was expecting that. We weren't expecting that. And so by the end, by that 7th day, we were exhausted because, there was no rest. Because even if, it didn't happen to me, thankfully, but if the kids found out where your stateroom was, they were banging on your door, putting stuff on your door. It was crazy. We just did, because we weren't staying, because we were traveling performers, we weren't staying where the crew stays. We were staying in the staterooms with the other guests. And it was crazy. And then me and I had the opportunity to bring my wife on, and we were newlyweds at the time. And she brought standard amount of clothes for a cruise ship, not realizing she's got to change clothes 3-4 times a day now. So we had to get off at one of the ports to go find a Ross and buy her some clothes. And it was crazy because we didn't realize, we're on the entire time, So, that was a low light. Highlight. Man, there is no greater energy than children and kids having a good time. I love being able to have fun with kids and their adults on stage, and taking that guy who's got a corporate job that is a very, very serious job, and then dumping a whole bucket of slime on his head. he's having a good time and his kids are having a good time. And I just have never had more fun than that. You know what I mean? And they, it was one of those places where, that's the thing about cruises, right? It's like you are locked away from the rest of the world and you have no choice but to kind of have fun. I mean, so I enjoyed that very much. I don't know if I could do it full time. I don't know if cruise ship life work is for me, but man, those weeks that I got to do it was just the best.
You probably signed more autographs on those weeks than you did your whole career.
For real. I was trying to tell these people, I am not famous. I am famous adjacent. SpongeBob SquarePants is right there. Go. But yeah.
Tell us about your recent cruise on Disney. Which ship was it?
Dream. Disney Dream. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. Backstory. I worked for Disney for many years.
Oh.
As a young man. I
didn't know. You worked at the parks.
I worked at Disney World in Orlando. I worked at MGM Studios. I was friends with the Chipmunks. And I hugged a lot of kids. So this was it was a crazy time for us. This year I did New Year's Eve at Disney World. So I DJ'd for the New Year's Eve celebration. Got off of work. The next day we had a day off and we got on the cruise ship. Again, my good friend, he had the Walt Disney Suite, which is like the second biggest room on the ship. And I had a big room too, not nowhere near as big as this, but man, have you ever been on Disney before?
Yes. The first time my grandchildren cruised, I said they had to cruise.
Well,
do their first cruise
for
on
all
Disney.
these folks out there, as there's no gambling. So if you're going in there thinking about gambling, it's a wrap. You also got to remember it's Disney. So if you're going in thinking drink tickets or drink plans or whatever that's not happening. It's Disney. They don't do stuff like that. Their whole motto is, magic. You know what I mean? They want that magical feeling. And man, I ain't gonna lie. It was a good time. We got on the ship. They announced every family onto the ship in this big old celebration. The customer service is just top notch. The food was really good. I mean, I have to tell you, out of all the cruise ships that I've been on, it was probably the best buffet area that I've had. We got to sit. We did a brunch. We paid extra to do like their little brunch thing on our last day, which I thought was going to be like an hour or two. It ended up being like 4 hours at brunch. It was the longest brunch of my life. But all the food was excellent. The servers, excellent, because they all have, I mean, all these cruise ships, they pride themselves in service, right? But then there's that Disney touch. There's that Disney sparkle. There's that Disney where they are required to go the extra mile. You know what I mean? And it showed. We had a great time. My sons loved it. It was fun. It was a whole lot of fun.
Now, was that your family's first time on Disney?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. We had my first cruise with the kids was on Princess Cruises, and which was fun, but Princess Cruises just doesn't have a whole lot of stuff for kids. And even though my sons are not little, I have a teenager and my other son is 10, there was just not a whole lot of stuff sitting around them. And I'm not one of those parents that likes to take their kids and send them off to a club to hang out for the cruise ship. I actually like my children, so I want them to hang out with me. You know what I'm saying? Royal Caribbean was a little different. Royal Caribbean really does have a good handle on the kid situation, but Disney, whoo, top notch. Like all their rooms, they have a teenage area. They have a little kitty room and then a mid kid room, and all that stuff was top notch. So it was.
What are some other cruise lines you have sailed on?
So like
you and your family.
So we've done Royal Caribbean, we've done Princess, we've done Norwegian, and then Disney. Those are the lines I've been on. Okay. And I think I'm going to stick to that. I think if we go back out again, we'd probably go back out on Carnival. We really like those.
Yep.
Not Carnival.
Royal
Royal Caribbean.
Any near-term family travel or cruises planned?
So, good friend of mine is getting married in France. So we're going to be flying there in June. It is my son's first international flight. It is going to cost me about as much as a Honda Civic to get my entire family to France and back. But we're looking forward to that. We already did put the money down to go back out on the Disney cruise next year again, the same time, you know, the first week
Same
of
ship?
January. Same ship. Same. We're going to do the whole thing all over again. We had that much fun. And I think I'm going to try to nudge my wife into getting on a cruise ship sometime later on this year.
What is the one place, either as a child star or as an adult, what is the one place, either by land or by cruise, you are most grateful for having visited?
Let's see. That's a great question. Let's go with sort of recent. I enjoyed going to the Philippines. It was never on any of my lists to go to. As I said before, I've done shows with Steve Harvey, and it was right after the infamous year of the mix-up with Miss Universe. But they had
Yeah, I remember that. Just for the listeners who have no clue what you're referring to, just real quick, say something about the mix-up so that the story will have some context.
so and I'm going to mess this up. But long story short, Steve Harvey came out and announced Miss Columbia as Miss Universe. There seemed to be a mix-up with the card. And so instead of them handling it later, maybe after the show, Steve Harvey's a man of integrity. And he said, nope, I got to fix it. And he went back out on live air and said, hey, there's a mix up. It's actually Miss Philippines who won. And it caused a big stir all over the world. I actually wasn't at that Miss Universe. But because of that, this is the way the universe and God works, right? Is because that crazy mix up caused that man to be even more famous than he already is. He went from a national star to an international star overnight because of that. I mean, and it catapulted him in this respect of we went to the Philippines after that. We went to Thailand after that. He did Miss Universe for the next 5 years after that because, you know, everybody knew his name, you know. Yeah, so back to the story. Went to Philippines. It wasn't on my list, but it was just I just enjoyed the culture. I enjoyed the food. I enjoyed the culture. There, I can say this, and I don't know how to say this on PC on your podcast. There are very few Black people there. If you are going looking for Black people, they are not in the Philippines. Steve Harvey brought 5 people on that airplane with him to the Philippines. We were the 5 Black people in the Philippines. And I'm not saying, I mean, they were the nicest people. They didn't make it racial at all, but it was just like, I was like, there's just, okay, it's just us. Okay, all right. I mean, good time, good food, good hospitality. They were,
You know, just as an aside, I've never been to the Philippines, but on a recent cruise, just a couple of months ago, we stopped in Cartagena, Colombia, and there was an exhibit. There was a lot made of the Steve Harvey story at the beauty pageant.
yeah, it's never going away.
And
But like I said, it made him even more famous. What a mistake turned into a boon. So I mean, it worked out, I guess.
the last thing about the future, do you have a cruising or travel bucket list? Is there one place that you want to get to before you kick the bucket?
Absolutely, I got to get to Japan. It has been a long time dream. I'm kicking myself all the time. My little brother is a master gunnery sergeant in the Marines, and he was stationed in Japan for a long time. And because I'm a hustler, I've been working so much, I never got over there while he was there. But before I am removed from this mortal coil, my plan is to get to Japan. I just want to go there real bad. I want to go to Tokyo. I want to go to Okinawa. I want to go just up in the woods somewhere and see the sights. I really want to
Yep.
go.
On my bucket list as well. Well, Ruben, I know how busy you are. But before we let you go, we like to ask our guests some light or fun cruise questions, and
Okay.
TV stars like fun too. So
Start with
first
Jason.
first one's an easy one. I call this a softball question. How do you spend your me time?
I 3D print. You can't see it, but behind this wall over here, that where those transformers, that big sign right there, it's like 4 3D printers.
Oh wow.
And I make stuff all day long. I make toys, I make helmets, I make stuff for the house, I make things to hold my headphones, I make stuff all day long. Just because it's fun to do, and I make it for people, and it's my vice. It's what I do when I'm in my quiet.
Well, I mentioned to the audience, to the listeners, when we did the Lucid Driver podcast, you're sitting in the same spot. I told my listeners then, and I'll tell my listeners now, if you all could see behind Ruben right now, to me, it looks like Toys R Us. That's what it brings. They're out of business, right? Probably some of the listeners don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, they
But
know what
I
it is.
grew
They know
up
what
in
it is.
I grew up in Toys R Us, and your house just looks like, or not your house, your podcast room or your room where we're doing this podcast. It looks like just a random corner in Toys R Us.
It is my vice. I collect Transformers. And yep, there's an entire wall in here of nothing but Transformers.
Okay. Specific to cruising, what is your favorite cruise drink and cruise food?
Cruise drink. I mean, let's see. I don't know my favorite drink, but I'll go on a cruise ship. You know what? Anything with an umbrella in it. Like, I want that. Listen, I don't care. Look, this whole macho thing. I won't drink a pink drink. I won't drink a pearl. I want it fruity with an umbrella in it. And then I have the full cruise aesthetic. That's what I want. Just give it to me.
There
You
you
know what I
go.
mean?
There
Good
you
to
go.
go.
How about food? Anything that you only eat on
Food.
cruise ships?
No, I'll be real with you. Like, you know what? When I get on a cruise ship, because there's so many international cooks on cruise ships, I try to find whatever ethnic food I can find. So, so
Okay.
if a lot of the whatever, I try to find the ethnic food because I know that there is somebody in the back really cooking it. You know what I mean? It's not the typical fries and chicken fingers and burgers. I want some good.
Okay. And this can be your contemporary cruising life or in your days back with Nickelodeon. What's your most wonderful or memorable or funniest or even most embarrassing cruise or port experience?
Memorable. I'm gonna go memorable and say. So one of my favorite things about Nickelodeon is they are for every kid. And a lot of times, cruise ships are not sometimes the best place for kids with other abilities or disabilities. And on my very first cruise ship with Nickelodeon, there's a program called Give Kids the World, where it is for very ill or terminally ill children. And they give them, no, I'm sorry, it was Make a Wish Foundation, Make a Wish, Make a Wish. Very ill, terminally ill children. And they grant wishes. And one of these kids' wishes was to be on this cruise ship. This kid had cancer. And because of his diagnosis, he could not take typical seasickness medication. And so there was a big hubbub about it. And there was a Royal Caribbean worker that had been in this situation before. And they told this kid, hey, listen, all you got to do is eat apples and pears and anything crunchy like that. For whatever reason, the nutrients and the crunchiness kind of fights the seasickness. And that kid ended up having the best time ever because he didn't get sick. And it, for me, gave me knowledge moving forward. I don't take Dramamine and stuff when I go on cruise ships. I don't take any of that stuff because I found a natural remedy that works for me. I'm not gonna say it's gonna work for everybody, but a natural remedy that works for me. And I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear the crew swears by green apples. Yeah, I had a crew member on here. I've had several on here, but one did talk about seasickness and green apples.
Like I said, it changed the way I do things. Even with my sons when we're driving long distance in cars, that's what I give them. Eat on this and it'll help.
Last question is, I call this the oddball question, only because it has nothing necessarily to do with cruising. So first of all, let me just say welcome to Rubin's fans and friends listening. We hope your fans have enjoyed what they have heard at the Joy of Cruising podcast and will come back for future episodes. Rubin, share one thing that my listeners and your friends and fans don't know about Rubin.
Don't know about me. Oh, that's a good one because I'm pretty much an open book. Hold on. Give me a second. Don't know about me. That is a great question. Okay. It's going to ruin my aesthetic. For years, and including now, the song Loveful by the Cardigans is one of my favorite songs ever. I don't know why I like this song. I do know why I like this song, because it was part of the weird Romeo and Juliet movie that came out in the 90s. And it is my guilty pleasure song. And you've seen what my car looks like. It does not look like a car that should be blasting that kind of music out of it. But it's one of a guilty pleasure. There you go. Now you know.
Well, you know, when I hang up the phone, I have Apple Music. I'm going to quickly search that song and listen. And I'm sure I've heard it.
Don't think less of me.
I'm sure I've heard it. I've heard of the group, but I don't know what the song is. So we'll see what you jam to when the windows are up on the car.
That's right.
Speaking of the car, for those of you who care at all about automotives or electric vehicles, check out my podcast with Rubin on Lucid Driver Podcast. You don't have to care about Lucid, but I will tell you that he has one of the baddest Lucids on the planet.
Well, thank you.
and the link for that episode is in the show notes. Rubin, thank you so much. It has been great talking to you again. Between Lucid and cruising, I'm going to have to come up with an excuse to get you back on here because you're so much fun.
Or you just get my phone number. You call me sometime. Let's just do that. All right?
All right, man. You have a wonderful 2026.
Yeah.
And
hey, before I get off this phone, you're in Virginia now, right?
Yep.
I know it's a little bit of a drive, but I start Family Feud in Georgia next week. So if you're ever in the area, come on by, come see a show.
Let me know. I will make it a trip.
Okay.
So,
all right.
As I like to say, we will see you on the ocean.
The Joy of Cruising and Cruising Interrupted, each $16.99 plus shipping, and new release, The Joy of Cruising Again for $18.99 can be ordered at the link on thejoyofcruisingpodcast.com. For each of the three books, use the discount code Joy of Cruising Podcast and get $4 off. The Joy of Cruising books are also available at Amazon. Order the ebook at Amazon or your favorite online retailer. Stay in touch by joining the Joy of Cruising Podcast Facebook group or following the Joy of Cruising Podcast on Instagram. We're constantly adding new shows. Please leave a review and tell a friend about us. We hope you enjoyed this brief escape to the ocean. See you next week.